Welcome to today's episode of the Higher Grade Help Podcast. If you're a health coach who's ready to break through income plateaus and scale your business to six or even multiple six figures without burning out, this one is for you. Today, we are diving into how health coaches can use our proven shift method to streamline client delivery, boost retention, and create consistent, scalable income, all while reclaiming precious time and energy. Now, if you've got a melting pot of offers, but feels like there's something missing, or if you've got a melting pot of offers, but feel like something's missing, or you're spinning your wheels trying to deliver on programs that lack structure, this episode will show you how to gain clarity, improve your client experience, my favorite thing to do, and finally step into your CEO role. Let's talk about what I call the melting pot dilemma. This happens when you have multiple offers, maybe three, four, or more, each pulling in clients, but none of them feel fully fleshed out. Maybe you're constantly asking yourself questions like, what exactly do clients get out of each program? Ever been there? Because I know I have many times. How do these programs connect to one another? If you ever find it difficult to upsell or cross sell clients from one program to another, maybe you have like a signature 3-month coaching program that's your anchor. That is the program that people join when they're first introduced to you, and once you build that rapport, but you find it difficult to like upsell them into your higher level program. Maybe you have like a $10,000 or $15,000 program that lasts for 6 months or 12 months, or maybe you have a mastermind and you just can't close, or I won't even say close the gap. The you can't bridge the connection between the first program and the higher level program. So if you've ever asked yourself, how do these programs connect to one another, you are definitely in the melting pot dilemma. Okay, just letting you know, my friend, that's where you are, and we're going to help you get through that today. Okay. And the last question is, why have you ever asked yourself, and why is client retention slipping through the cracks? This is the big one, because that customer lifetime value is gold for us coaches, right? And I'm putting on my coaching hat here. That's gold for us. If that lifetime customer value is jeopardized, that can completely unalive your MRR. And it's such a threat to the business overall, because you find yourself having to enroll more and more people, which means your customer acquisition costs go through the roof. You see where I'm going with this, right? No one wants to be in the red, and threats to your client retention are the reason that a lot of coaches end up in the red. So if your client retention is slipping through the cracks, then today's episode is like going to help you get some clarity around how we can fix this. So let me ask you, does any of this sound familiar? Here's the deal. You don't need to overhaul every single detail of your programs right now. Instead, you need to take a step back, or I invite you to take a step back and look at your business from a 30,000-foot view. We're going to start with what I call the red carpet client experience. And what's happening in this episode is I'm coaching you. Sit down, get your coffee, your tea, your water, your Pellegrino, whatever you want to drink, whatever your preferred drink is, and I want you to go through this as if we're in an actual coaching session right now. This is the exact step-by-step process that I took one of our most successful clients through to help close the gaps in her client delivery in her programs, and it resulted in her adding multiple six figures to the bottom line of her health coaching business. So I'm going to do the same thing with you, okay? So like I said, we're going to start with what I call the red carpet client experience. The red carpet client experience is a high-level plan that helps you create a seamless journey for your clients while simplifying your operations. Go get your pen, go get your pad, and let's get to work. Now let's talk about the solution, okay? We're going to go into our next segment right here. Let's talk about the solution. This is what I call the shift method. And if you're inside of our structured program, which used to be called Higher Grade Help, if you've gone through like our signature coaching program, which is a 6-month program, you've gone through the shift method and you know all about what I'm about to share with you. But you who may be a new listener, you've never gone through that. So I want to explain this to you as I walk you through it. Okay. The shift method has 3 phases to what I call scaling success. So scaling to 100k or even 600k a year requires more than just great offers. Let's say that again. You are a coach. Scaling to 100k or even 600k a year requires more than just great offers. It requires systems, clarity, and leadership. SCL, systems, clarity, and leadership. Okay? If you want a way to remember this, I have a little saying. I call it sexy cars lane. Okay? Think about like a car, your dream car that you want to buy when your coaching business finally takes off and like you have the clients and the retention and the monthly recurring revenue and it's exactly where you want it to be. You only have to work, the amount of hours every month that feels good for you. It's juicy, it's amazing. You can go on dates, you can spend time with your kids, you can travel, you live in the house that you like, you have the kitchen that you enjoy. Everything is exactly where it wants to be. And you look outside in your driveway and you think about getting on that lane on the highway because you're about to take a trip to your island destination. You have to get to the airport and you look outside and you say, oh, that's a sexy car lane. Sexy car lane, right? So that's systems, clarity, and leadership. That's the 3 things you need to scale to 100k or even 600k a year. And that's where our shift method comes in. So this proven framework will take you through 3 critical phases to not only grow your income, but also create a scalable, client-centered business model. Okay, so let's break them down. Phase 1, create your client experience map. This is where we need to begin. The mistake I see most coaches make is they start working on the offers. They go straight to the offers. But if you think about it, how many offers are your red carpet clients presented with on a daily basis? I mean, really, how many deliverables have they been pitched? They've seen the offers. And I'm not saying yours couldn't be different or stand out or unique, but what I'm saying is think about it from the consumer standpoint. So I don't believe that it's the wisest decision strategically to just start from your offers. All right, like this is chess not checkers. So we have to think about how can we move our pieces on this chessboard. Can we move our pawns? Can we move our queen? Can we move our knight? How do we make the right moves to make sure that we are checkmating our consumer and getting them presented with the offer that not only is um, right for them based on where they currently are in their business or in their personal lives, but that's going to actually help them get the result they need. They may not know they need it. They may want something that looks a little different, but ultimately we know what they need. And deep down, they know what they need to get to the result that they're trying to reach, right? So I say all that to say the first step is creating the experience. Think about how many coaching, uh, think about how many people who have come online and shared their story about hiring a coach that did not deliver on what they purchased, right? Think about how many people have that story that they overpaid a coach or they invested 4 or 5 figures into a coaching program or a mastermind or anything the coach was offering, and it was fluff, or it was just phone calls, or the coach got on the call and said, okay, what do you want to talk about today, right? So there is a opportunity here to present the best experience. And if you pivot your business as a coach to focus on the client experience, not what you're packing into the deliverables, I'm telling you, as I still consider myself like, not a newbie, but I'm still young in this game. I've only been in the coaching game 10 years, but this industry is what, 20, 30 years old. So I'm just saying this from my decade of experience in this larger world of coaching. If you focus on creating your client experience and that becomes where you make your investments as opposed to simply packing programs with offers and deliverables, I'm telling you, you're going to change the game for your clients. So the first phase I take every single one of my clients through inside of Structured, which is our signature coaching program, is I'm going to have you look at your client experience map first. We're going to create that map. We'll focus on designing your red carpet client experience, okay? So here's what we'll do, or here's what you'll do now. Number one, I want you to map out your ideal client journey. What experience do you want your clients to have from the moment they sign up to the moment they graduate from your programs? How do you want them to feel? What do you want them to begin believing? And if you're inside of Structured, I have templates. This is all, if you know me, I'm very detailed. Organization is a top priority for me. I have templates and guides and maps and visuals, and it's very organized inside the Structure program. So I would walk you through this in greater detail in the program, of course. But here, while you're listening to this on the podcast or wherever you're listening to this episode, I just want you to start thinking through some of these questions and maybe jotting down like what comes to mind, right? And if you want to, again, apply for Structure or see if Structured is a good fit for you, the link is in the description in the show notes, and you could always submit your application and see if you will be a good fit for our Structure program. Okay, so that's the first thing. Map out the journey. Second thing, now I want you to document your deliverables from that journey. Okay, we're going to flip it. You don't do the deliverables first, you do the journey first. So now that you've mapped out your ideal client journey, next I want you to document your deliverables. Identify what you can realistically deliver to clients over the next 7 days. This is an exercise because I also want you to get into the mindset of not overthinking. We're stepping into CEO-ship here. We're moving from solopreneur and a solopreneur burnout, and we're moving into leadership. Here in my company, I build leaders. So I want you to think about what can you realistically deliver to a client over the next 7 days. Think about how you'd serve them if you had 10 fewer hours to work in your business on your schedule. You had 10 fewer hours a week to work with clients. What's something you can deliver them that would be of immense value? It would be worth 10x what they paid you. That's number two. Okay, still in phase one, we're on step two. Step three, then we're going to update your business model. Is your focus high ticket, low ticket, or a combination of both? Let's clarify your strategy and make sure every program fits into a logical ascension ladder for your clients. So by the end of phase one, you'll have a complete client experience map and a clear workflow for managing your programs. Phase one is the aha moment. Phase one is the light bulbs moment. So when we took our health coach client through this, Laura, you see me share her story over on Instagram before. It's in our Instagram highlights, and it's on a few of our social media pages. But when we took her through this process, it really transformed how she was running her 6-figure health coaching business. She had set up the curriculum. She created her client experience. She documented her deliverables. She decided on her workflow for her program management. So by the end of phase one, the business model was updated. We did a business model brain dump so it completely aligned with the life that she saw for herself for the next 3 to 5 years, which was to start a family, to travel more, to have her team in sync. And all of those things happened because she did this work. Phase one is the aha moments, I'm telling you. It's the best part. This is where you really make your money. You build in the ability to scale in phase one and to scale your income significantly, okay? So let's go to the next phase. One of my quotes that I live by, I call them Cena-isms. And if you're following me over on Instagram, you've seen me post this many times over the years, is vision without execution is a hallucination. Vision without execution is a hallucination. So in phase one, you created the vision for your client experience. You visualized what you want them to feel, what you want them to think, who you want them to become, which is the vision. But to execute it, we now need to put the people, the processes, and the systems in place. Okay, so phase two is building an operations workflow. Here's what's at risk if you don't do this. What's at risk is you having a multi six figure coaching business. What's at risk is you having clarity and communication and clients saying, this was the best program I think I've ever gone through because it was thought through from the beginning to the end. You completely invested your abilities as a leader to move someone from point A to point B with the most pleasant experience possible, even through the difficult times where they're going to question themselves and they're going to be uncomfortable in their transformation. You thought through those difficult moments, those friction points within the program, and you created an experience around it to help these people move through those friction points with grace. But if you write all that out in a client experience map and then you don't put the operations in place to do it, and you go out and you hire one-off VAs, you hire VA agencies who don't understand the vision, who don't have the experience to deliver quality coaching on this level, who don't know how to create content that is in line with what you're saying and how your message comes across. And if you hire people who are inexperienced, who are inconsistent, who are not cohesive between the communication, that who are not cohesive with their communication between each person on the team, you are setting yourself up for failure. So phase two is building operations workflow. We have to have one because vision without execution equals hallucination. So phase two of the shift method inside of my structured program is where we do this. We now need to build an operations workflow. I told you, you have to have a sexy car lane, right? Systems, clarity, leadership. Not just clarity, not just leadership. Systems is the key here, right? So let's talk about phase two. Next, it's time to reduce your overwhelm by creating workflows and delegating effectively. Period. Here's the plan. One, we're going to clarify your org chart. Who's responsible for what? Let's define the roles and responsibilities of every team member, even if you have different virtual assistants who are in different locations, even if you have a completely remote team, if you have a hybrid team, if you have some people in office with you and some people remote, no matter what it looks like, and each of those different team structures will require different workflows and different documentation and different type of communication because you're dealing with people, right? So like social skills matter, and you do have to treat remote teams a bit different than you would a hybrid team as you would a team that's totally in office. However, no matter what your team structure looks like, we still need clarity. We still need to know who's responsible for what. And we still need to define the roles and responsibilities of every team member. I did a podcast episode where I said, teach your team members to become the CEO of their roles, right? So if you didn't listen to that podcast episode, go back and listen to it. You will fully understand why I'm saying this and why this is so important. But if you don't define where they where their skills are going to help you bring this client experience to life, then your team members have no idea where they best fit or where they can grow and metamorphosize into the leaders they need to be because you never placed them in the seat to do it. So number one, we need clarity on the org chart. And it's much deeper than saying Jane is going to run social media. John is going to edit our podcast episodes. It's much deeper than that. It's not simply task rabbits. We're not just handing out tasks and saying, you wear this hat, you wear this hat, you wear this hat. We have to look at people's strengths, people's weaknesses, and where they thrive. And then you have to play chess. Put them in the right places on the board so your coaching business can boom. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, rant over. So much to say about the org chart, but I digress. I think you get the point. The second step in phase 2 is to streamline your onboarding processes. This is let me do a pause right here because I feel the need to share how this affects you personally before continuing to just talk about like the business part. Now, as a coach, everything that you do in your business, it has the tendency to mirror who and what you are in your personal life. So if you find yourself struggling with staying on top of demands, organization, if you're a mother like I am, and or if you've gone through, like a lot of us, significant changes over the past few years, which I think is a truth for most of us, not to generalize, but just looking at the changes that have happened in society, in the political world, just in our atmosphere, right? There can be a great resistance to phase 2, which is building an operational workflow, because what it does is it causes you to question your own ability as a leader to create, birth, possess, and then produce something of this magnitude that is this organized. It brings out your insecurities as a leader if you haven't dealt with them. So when those thoughts come up for you, I want you to pause, unpack that, and start to imagine what it would look like for you to get comfortable with ease. What would it look like for you to accept ease and flow into your life? And as you're picturing yourself becoming more comfortable with it, the next level of this is for you to step into being the initiator of ease. I want you to practice being the pursuer of peace. That's the word, right? So that is the mindset that I want you to walk into streamlining your onboarding processes with. Instead of instead of looking at it from the perspective of it's difficult or it's something that is so foreign to you, you've never had it before. I don't want you to look at it that way. Instead, say, okay, this is a part of me welcoming ease into my life. This is a part of me growing this organization, growing this business without it being so stressful on me or requiring large loads of energy from me. So that's the second step in phase 2. Think about every piece of your business and how it currently operates, from new clients to team members. We together will create workflows in tools like Asana, in tools like Honeybook, to make onboarding seamless and reduce your involvement. And this is a in-depth process. This could take a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks or so to put into place if you're inside of structured. But this is a place where I want you to honor and acknowledge the emotional changes that you're going to go through as a leader when you're putting this in place, okay? Because there is like a spiritual and a mental shift that happens, as well as you putting organization into your business. So once that's in place and you've laid that foundation, The third step is you're going to shift roles for scalability. This frees up your time by adjusting roles within your team. Okay. And if you've ever done this, if you've ever taken the action of picking random hires and then placing them around the task that just brought you headaches or brought you confusion, and you quickly wanted to shuffle it into the hands of someone else so that it no longer burdened you, but then that backfired on you for whatever reason that it did. This is typically why. It's because you didn't go through the first phase of creating your client experience map and letting that be your guiding light, I guess you could say, for identifying and assigning proper roles within your team. But then you also aren't even clear on who's responsible for what. Your org chart was missing, and then your processes, right? See how it's linear, like it goes in order. It's a logical movement from step to step. And because you skip that part, and as well as streamlining your onboarding processes and looking and seeing where within your process you would need extra manpower, right? That's why those random hires did not work. So now that you've done it in the proper order by listening to this episode, now you're in a position where you can shift the roles for scalability. So, for example, Laura, our health coach, who this episode it's following the pattern of the process she went through in Structured, our signature coaching program. Laura focuses less on operations now that she's gone through phase one and she's at the end of phase two. Okay. Now she focuses less on operations, right? She's the head, she's the leader, she's the lead coach. When clients join her program, she's doing the majority of the coaching. So we need her into the coaching role and out of operations. And this, picture this for yourself as the lead coach in your programs, in your coaching business, okay? Now, we have her assistant who currently operated, we'll call her Becca, her assistant who operated just as like an executive assistant, doing anything and everything that, was handed to her. And we shift her away from being the person who puts out fires that's handed to her on a daily basis, where it's a bit chaotic, and we shift her into customer service fulfillment. Once we looked at the clarification of the organization, we realized Becca needs to be into customer service fulfillment. That's her gift. That's where she's great at. That's where we need more manpower. So we're going to shift her into that role. We're preparing for scalability, right? Then the I guess you could say assistant coach, right? The assistant coach, we'll call her Janie. Janie, who has operated as the assistant coach, the onboarder, the person who welcomes all the new clients, who also kind of operated as like an executive assistant, a lead coach who put out the fires as they came in. There was no clear delegation of responsibility to Janie. So we realized, okay, looking at this plan, Janie needs to take on assistant coaching or other responsibilities that fall within that scope. So her focus is moved away from putting out fires and just taking over whatever Becca couldn't do. And now we're going to focus on putting her into assistant coaching. So you see, now we have structure. Now we have clarity. Now our team members can become the CEO of their own roles. So by the end of phase two, you'll have a scalable operation system that reduces your presence in client delivery while empowering your team. Gold, right? And the last phase is the mindset makeover. So phase three is the mindset makeover. This is where we focus on the CEO mindset shift. A lot of times we receive blessings and we don't have the mindset in place to maintain them. So this is where you now have this brand new system. It's organized. It's running like a well-oiled machine. It is allowing you to sign new clients and not feel overwhelmed or strained in the least bit when you are processing payments and more people are coming through your door and clients are experiencing deeper fulfillment from the programs that you're offering as a health coach or as a coach, right? So scaling your business at this point isn't just about the systems anymore. It's now about the leadership. So we have to tackle 3 steps in this third phase. 1, we're going to define your role as the CEO. What's your zone of genius? And how do you delegate the rest? You hear this all the time when it comes to talking about CEOs, but I really want you to, again, embody not just the technical term of being the leader and the CEO and what am I supposed to do in conjunction or as a cohesive member of this larger team. No, I want you to think about this from a emotional, energetic, mental standpoint as well. What is your zone of genius? What comes to you naturally? Where does your leadership thrive and shine the brightest? Because your team members are humans and they're going to need empowerment that is refreshing, and it's like a breath of fresh air every time you guys go into and through and out of a new project. So as you ebb and flow through different projects or seasons or launches or phases, and we're going into like the holiday season. So as you guys are definitely going through the holiday launches, you have to know, it's your job to know what's your zone of genius as a leader so you can spread that optimism throughout your team. And you need to know what isn't your zone of genius so you can properly delegate that to the rest of your team based on their zones of genius. So we're defining your role as a CEO. We want you to step into leadership. 2, clarify your vision. The second thing I want you to do here is ask yourself, where do you see your business in 1, 3, or 5 years? Okay, 1, 3, or 5 years. Number 3, overcome mental blocks. What thoughts, what feelings, what actions do you need to shift to fully step into the CEO role? So by the end of this phase, you'll feel confident leading your team, delivering an incredible client experience, and growing your business to the next level. So now that you understand the 3 phases of the shift method, let's get practical. Here's what you can do today to start moving the needle. 1, I want you to map your client experience. Okay, write out your ideal client's journey from start to finish. What touch points, what resources, and support will they receive along the way? And check the comment section if you need help with this. Again, feel free to apply for Structured. I'd be more than happy to have my team review your application and see if you would be a good fit and if we would be a good fit to help you move through this organization process. Okay. 2, I want you to document your deliverables. Just look at the next 7 days on your calendar. What can you realistically deliver to clients without burning out? Start there. And then 3, brain dump your business model. Spend 15 minutes jotting down your current offers, your prices, and how you envision moving clients from one program to the next. If you're ready to streamline your business, deliver an incredible client experience, and finally hit those 100k to 600k income goals without sacrificing your time and energy, then it's time to put the shift method into action. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your questions, or breakthroughs from this episode. You can connect with me on Instagram or visit highergreathelp.com to learn more about how we can work together to build the business you've always envisioned. Thank you for tuning into the Higher Great Help podcast. Until next time, keep leading with purpose, serving with passion, and scaling with strategy. I'll see you for the next one.